Welcome back to Factorio Space Age. My name is Nilaus and we are back here on Gleba. And in the first episode, I will completely acknowledge I was rushing a little bit. And it's not because I was sort of dreading what was coming. It was because I wanted to make sure that we had a good start and we just landed and we sort of got things established. And we have that now. So what we're going to be focused on in this episode quite efficiently, I hope, is that we are going to go out here. We're going to set up some mining operations out here, or some farming operations for this location, and some farming operations down here for this. So that means we should get some jellynut out for the purple, and some yumaco from the green. And those were the two main things. Once we have those, then we basically have everything we need in the base. Those are the things yeah, those are actually just the things that we need in the space. And let me get to my grid. Oh, that's definitely not a grid. And there, that is the Gleba grid, and we are going to be simply taking our grid out here. I am going to start by doing something. This is something that I do every time, and why is this not working? There we go, that one. So I need to make my special, unique thing here. This is we do a turret outside of logistics range, very important. We go in and we say how much ammo we want in. I'm gonna take 15 ammo. Then I'm gonna take this blueprint and copy it when it's outside, when it has ghost images in here. And that's gonna be something we're gonna be using for ever and ever and ever. Because what happens then is that when my robots come in, they will immediately fill it up as well. This means this is how we can spam different things and then kill biters out here. And I'm simply going to propagate my base here. Let's do that. We're gonna get it all the way out here as well. There. Good. And we have a lot of these. This is what we really want. That one. That gets us some. I don't want to trash unrequested. I really shouldn't be doing that. There, these jellynuts. We don't want to trash those. We want to process those. Because we need to get the seeds. Seeds are what we need. We are just going to establish the grid here. And I'm kind of feeling weird that I'm not getting it. Okay, so what we need to do, kill some biters. This is going to be a little bit tricky, I think. Maybe. So we do that. Oh, that's not tricky at all. With the Tesla gun, that is not tricky at all. Oh, there's a big guy. It seemed to get stuck. And let's see, is there anything on the ground? There should be something on the ground, right? Yeah, we do have probably picked up. Do you have something on the ground? Nope, not really. Okay, so that didn't really cost anything. We do have some pentapod eggs. Send those back. Let's go back into the network because those will become more biochambers, and we need a lot of biochambers, so might as well make them into biochambers. One thing though is super important to remember is that they will actually hatch, so I should be building some turrets here. That's just good practice to build some turrets in your base. And also I'm going to build it up here because if they go into the storage, then I want to make sure that they get taken out as well. Good, we now have what we need out here, and let's see. The grid is also propagated as well. I'm going to take out that little biter nest out here. I can't see the biter nest. It's completely impossible to see anything here. And we got a little bit more of the here. Good. All right, so let's find out where the best location we have here for the starting up the farm. I think this is definitely it. This is a lot of the pink area here. Let's remove that and remove that so we can see it better. So this is how it works. You first find it in your inventory. There you go. This farming thing. As you hover it, it can be placed anywhere, but you can see that it generates these 3x3 fields around it. And then the idea is you want to get as many of those as possible. Let's see if we can move this and it gets better. Yeah. And no, it kind of isn't able to take that anyway up there. So I think this is like the best place we can do it. There. But then we can also take another one here so they kind of overlap. And then, yeah, I think that's a really good place as well. And we're missing some landfill. Landfill is somehow a little bit difficult to get a hold of. So, what are we going to do? Well, we are going to start by making it robot-based. Because that's easy to set up. There. We don't have this. Oh, is it because of landfill? I think it might be because of landfill for everything. Yeah, every landfill is being picked up. That's really interesting. I think that it just needs to roll for a little bit. Okay, so what is it going to require or request here? This is a requester, and this will request some of the seeds, the jellynut seeds. Not very many because it also has some things inside. I'm just going to get 2. Great. And then I'm going to take this down here. Hover over here to see which ones are actually the green ones. You don't want to place it. If you place it on the green ones, it's still green, but it won't be building there. So you have to build it off here, which means more landfill. And these are working, but they are not working because we don't have the landfill for this one here. So let's what I'm going to do is I'm going to be cleaning out this area, and this area we have already, and then set these up. So here we go. We have now established a little bit here. What happens is that this has received a few of the seeds, and it can store quite a lot of seeds, and seeds don't expire. So that's really nice. And then they'll go out and plant a little seed here. If I hover over it, we can see the seedlings, and it will just plant one of those. It takes, if we click on this, we can see that it gets 15 spores per harvest, and the growth is 6%. So you can see that this gradually grows up, and when it's done, then we harvest. It says 15, but that's kind of weird. Why it says spores? Oh, spores is the pollution here. So every time we harvest, we let out some spores, and that means that it spreads the pollution cloud. But it goes up to 15. You can see the growth rate and is exactly 2 times the expected result. So it goes up to 50. When you get to 50, you harvest it, and that means you get out. So if we don't have any productivity gains, if we're simply doing this manually, like I'm doing right now, then every harvest will get 50. With this process, there is a 2% chance. That means I will, on average, get 1 jellynut seed for every harvest, which means that it only sort of balances out exactly, which is not great. So what is the problem with that is that as long as we basically, if we do not have productivity on the process, this process, then we're going to be probably losing some, because sometimes there will be something that spoils in our inventory, like things are doing now. So what we need is to make sure that there's productivity when gaining. Luckily, the biochamber does have productivity. So what is another thing that's kind of important about this? You really want to get some defenses out here. So you can see, is it worth getting these small ones here? Not really. Where's the next good one we could get? That's all the way out here. So I think I'll make do with these 2 here. I mean, I can get 2 tiles there. Not much. Up here, I could get 3 tiles, right? Yeah, there's 3 tiles here. We also get landfill, special landfill later on that we can use to make it a little bit better. So let's do that as well. Here we go. We are not making we're not making substations, but I guess we will. So I'm going to take my blueprint here and then simply just do. Oh, okay. There. And there. And I don't have it yet, because it's all requiring landfill, but I will have it eventually. And right now, some idiot decided that robots should do everything out here. Yeah, so this can either be brought back by robots, or it can be brought back by myself, by belts. Right. We are now in the yumaco area of the map here, and we are already getting some of this yumaco mash, and I'm going to be taking all of this out, because this is where we want to build. Oh yes. Lots of stuff, and we also should now have an inventory full of random crap that we need to deal with. There we go. Yes, that's kind of random crap. There we go. 3.6 of those handcrafted. That's a little bit much, but we now can make. We're just gonna do it to get it out of our inventory. Let's have a look. There should be something up here. That is that's a pretty good location, and there's definitely also some good locations down here. That's a good location, and ooh, there's more good locations here. Oh, that's a really good one. There's a lot of sort of fidgeting here with these, which is both good and bad. I like that it's kind of, you kind of have to follow the terrain for this. But on the other hand, it's also like a little bit frustrating to sort of go around and looking for pixel hunting There we go. So that's 4 good ones. Yes. Let's do those and set those up exactly like the other ones. And we're going to be that. There we go. And then obviously this will be requesting 2 of the other soils. 2. And then that will be our blueprint here. That one. Okay, so it goes on the top. This is also going on the top. And then that's going on the top. Yeah. 1, 2, 3, 4. That's set up. Now I also need to protect it as well. We have now established the second, the yumaco farm. So these are just chugging along, they're working, they are actually really good. This is 44, so once we start harvesting, we're going to see a ton of harvest. So now is the time for us to look at something that is more generic. We're going to be looking at all of the recipes we have for this part. And I have actually prepared a blueprint. This is not a blueprint that is particularly useful, but it does give us, because it does give us an overview of the chains of construction here. Great. So what the hell is this? I wanted to do this because now with the latest change, unknown recipes will still be displayed. They will just be displayed like this. I am going to steal some of you so that these are going to be looking nice. Then we're going to be walking through what it actually does. We just want to get these warnings out so we can actually see what's going on. There we go. We don't need to. The other ones, they have warnings here. Right. So this is Gleba. That's it. That's all there is to it. It's pretty simple, right? Basically, you need a lot of jellynut and a lot of yumaco. The main thing that this gets combined into is Bioflux. Bioflux is really good because it's very stable. It has 2 hours spoil time, so it means it's going to stick around. You create it, and then that's actually what you want, because it's made out of 2 things that have respectively 3 and 4 minutes of spoil time. So basically, you have the fruits coming in, they have 1 hour spoil time, but this intermediate layer only has a couple of minutes until it gets made into more stable Bioflux. That means you do not want to keep it in this form for very long. You want to get it into Bioflux or whatever is needed. And you can see that it's not a lot of other things. So what happens is with the Bioflux, then Bioflux combined back with jellynut gives us rocket fuel. Bioflux combined back with yumaco gives us plastic. The 2 main things we're going to be processing. Bioflux plus pentapod eggs gives us science. So we need a production of pentapods, and which we can do. Then we say later on, then the Bioflux gets combined, or it can also be combined with spoilage to make sulfur, which is nice because surprisingly you can't make sulfur on the sulfuric planet of volcanoes. Weird, but yeah. Later on we can make carbon fiber by you taking yumaco and then also taking spoilage and make it into carbon and then make it into carbon fiber. The last process we have here is the recycler for iron bacteria and for copper bacteria. So that makes it infinite iron and copper on this planet. It's not, I mean, it is infinite because you can just, it self-perpetuates and it breeds. But in sense, it uses a lot of nutrients. And of course, all this is sort of underpinned by needing a lot of nutrients to keep flowing, and also by the fact that it's going to generate, every step is going to generate spoilage. So we need to be able to handle spoilage. My design philosophy for everything here on this planet is going to be 2 things. Every build goes from left to right. So we're going to basically make some kind of, I'm going to say bus, from here to here. Or maybe down here for here, depending on how big or where we want it. So that means that's one principle. The other principle is, let me just see what we're missing here. Oh, landfill, okay. Is that I want every little design to be sort of contained in this one. Why? It's cool. I think that's the best thing I can say. But it's also, it does have some advantages, but I'm not going to pretend that those are the main reasons. But every design is going to look exactly the same in terms of idea. The idea is this. Right. So that means we can have 8 biochambers in a little suburban block, someone called it, but I don't like that, sub-block, because it's a substation block. And then we can use that for input. Then we can manage inputs from here, outputs from there. And each of these will almost always have, and I'm going to make sure that I have rotate always count with clockwise. That will always be nutrients because every single one of these requires nutrients. So that's basically my premise I can put in some what are they called? Efficiency module 2 if I want to, or later on I can also make it into some other things. Now we do have everything being productivity module here, so we don't actually need to put productivity modules into all this, but you know, maybe we do. Actually weird that we don't have any productivity modules. Did someone forget to send productivity modules here? Let me check. We're going to start with the production for jellynuts and yumaco. There. So what is this? Let's look at both inputs and outputs. And this is 2 inputs and 12 outputs. That is ridiculously fast. Then let's also get these 2 in here. And then now power is reduced significantly. We could put productivity. We could put all sorts of things in here. I don't know if that's necessary. If I do this, let's say it goes from 2 in to 12 out. In the beginning, we're actually going to do this. There we go. We'll do that. This is going to be the design. So it's not really very much in terms of inbound. What we're going to do is we're going to get a belt inbound like this. And it goes in. And then we're going to pick it up from these. Here. There. Now, a lot of things are going to be weird about this design. And we're going to be outputting it out, 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 out. Now they all go out on the outside belt. That's not great. I want these to be shunted a little bit back. There, and the same up here on this side. Go back and go back, because that means this is the output. And let's mark this area like that. Output, and the other one is output. Here, here, here. So now half of them are inputting on the, in this case, the top side, and the other one is on the inside. Okay, so on the inside and outside belt, depending on what you define as inside and outside belt. Now, this is how you would do it if there was a normal production line. You also need something on the outside here for belts. I'm going to take the whole damn thing and move it 1 tile over, maybe. Let's move it here, because I'm going to need a little bit more space here. Right, so here's all the fun things. What if it spoils? If I put nutrient on the outside belt, what if it spoils? Well, what about the in here? What if it spoils, the nutrient spoils in here? What if the input jellynut spoils? What if the output jellynut can't get out and it spoils? What if the output jellynut is, the output jelly is actually spoiling as it's on the belt? You can see why this is difficult. Oh yeah, and also, this has a 2% chance of generating in jellynuts, so we need to be able to handle that. So let's start with the easy one. That's the positive case of, hey, let's get some seeds out here. There. So it's just simply going out, and these 2 are going to go out, and then I guess this is going to go. Let's make it further out here. As long as the loop doesn't take more than, it can go 1 wider out here, and then, but not more than that, because then it's a block. You kind of want to be able to do this. I mean, I know it's not going to be like that, but maybe the next one is something that requires this, and then I can use a direct insertion. All right, then let's take here. This one though will never be taking anything. Will never be taking anything except this. There won't be any spoilage here because the seeds don't spoil. So let's just say there's a very low quantity. Let's just throw it out. There you go. So now we've handled the seeds. Then we're going to handle the output here. And if we just want to feed it onwards on the belt, then we can do it. Oh, hold on. I think this is better. There. Because I need to... Oh, yeah, that's some belting here. Okay. If I want it out on the belt, then that's going to be fine. Is it going to be more than 1 belt? No, it's not. So it's actually only 1 belt outbound. But, yeah, it's... We'll do it like this. Alright, so now we need to look at the inbounds. How are we getting inbounds? Well, the jellynut is coming in on the belt. We could request it in, but I think it's better to start thinking about this in terms of belting it in. Now we need to be able to catch something. And here is a cool trick that I'll show you. I mean, I think it's cool. Ta-da! I will put it on the outside. This means that when we have nutrients running on this belt, the nutrients will also go in here, and then they can pick up and be put sidewise in here. But what about... Yeah, I know, spoilage. Now let's deal with all the spoilage crap, because there is a chance that whatever goes in here actually spoils. So, we have to be putting a lot of contingencies everywhere to just handle spoilage. There. No, not like that. Actually, it's easier to take this and mash it down there. There we go. So that means catching spoilage here. What about the spoilage that actually goes around on the belt? Well, I think I want to just take here and just filter out any spoilage, because then I can just throw it in here. Alright. This is looking good, right? This is looking good. And I think I want to request things in here now. That one. Yes. Good. Alright. This is being requested in just to keep us, just to see that it's working. Or is it working? What is not working though is we also need some nutrients in here. So let's see if we can get some nutrients. I will be doing a request for nutrients. Why are they not coming in? Okay, now they're coming in. Good. I've just requested a little bit more. That goes in. Then we need to add some nutrients to this. No, that does not work. And then I can do that down here. I think I want to do... Can I... How far can I get out? Ooh, I can get all the way out. Good. Because there's a chance that this part here... Oh no, these should be filtered. They should not be for that. They should be for jelly and jelly only. Jelly, 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 jelly. At least that comes in. But I also want to make sure that we get... If we have spoilage out, when we look at this from a sort of bus base or bus concept, then... And we are. Then this is going to be where we get the spoilage out, because we do need to get spoilage out. And I'm actually just keenly aware that I need to move the whole thing one back, because that's the maximum size we can work on. Yeah. Like, there's a lot of fidgeting here. That one. This will go out on the belt, if it's a belt based. There we go. But we still need something inbound, which is going to be a little bit harder to do when I look at it now, because there is not a whole lot of space. Actually, there is enough space. Let's do a request and an output, and this one will request nutrients. Now, there is a problem. Do you see the problem? For me, the problem is 100 in here plus a full belt around here is just a lot of nutrients that is being wasted, that are just sitting there, just floating around, being turned into, basically being turned into spoilage. So that's a problem. We are going to get some lights as well for this build. There and there. Yes, lights. So what I want to do is I want to know how much is on the belt. That means I need to monitor this segment of belt, and I monitor this segment of belt, and I want to monitor... Is that just enough to take these two? That goes down to that location. Ah, yeah, okay, so it's not. Monitor that segment of belt, and then we want to monitor this segment of belt as well. There, so now we monitor the whole belt all the way around. Good. And we have we have an enable of the requester, so it's only going to request when the amount of nutrient on the belt is less than 50, because we just want something floating around. We don't want to fill up the entire belt, and that means when this one goes above 50, we should hopefully, if it gets below above 50, we should hopefully see this sort of flickering off. Look, it looks like it can't keep up, but that's a thing. This one is going to be exactly the same for our yumaco, so we might as well just make it the same thing for yumaco. Here we go. This is exactly the same build. We are going to be producing exactly the same thing. Well, the quantities are a little bit different. It's half as much yumaco as it is jelly. You can see this is 8.35. This is only 4.17. But that's just the way it is. All right, we have built these two. I think that one thing that we have to build it's actually two more things that in order to sort of, yeah, fully encompass something. And that is, we need to make a Bioflux and we need to make a scrap handler. And let's see if I can figure out what we want with the scrap handler. Well, let's do the positive case, and that's gonna be the Bioflux. So Bioflux is gonna be, let's build the framework for the Bioflux as well. Let's just look at it, what it does. So this is significantly more of everything. That means we're probably gonna have 2 belts on the outside and then only 1 belt on the inside. So if this was a normal build, it would look something like this. Just 2 lines around and put it into some box here at the end. That would be it. So now what we need to focus on in terms of design is all the stuff that's weird and strange. So I need to get this in both by belt and by rod. So let's see. I am going to get this in by belt like this. And there. So that gets it in by belt. Now it's very obvious that since these are spoiling really quickly, we really need to make sure that we can handle the spoilage. So what I'm going to do with the spoilage is actually go like this, because there's a neat trick here. That one is then spoilage. There. So these two are now spoiling in here. And that means this part here will go into a spoilage box. So that means everything that runs around gets filtered and then spoilage goes in. Cool. What if this spoils on this belt? Well, they go into these boxes and then I need to have something that can be picking up from this spoilage. Yeah. I don't know if I need to have this big of a build here. I might not need it, to be honest. It might be a little bit too big, but then we need to also get some inputs, and that is actually pretty much the same as this one. And this is monitoring the belt, and then saying request if there's less than 50, and let's see if that works. Holding our breath. Is it working? It is not working because we are not getting any yumacos. Why not? That is because everything gets picked up. Yeah, we really need to deal with the scrap though. I don't want you to be picked up. Could you just leave something for the rest of us? So, yeah, and this will go filter outbound, and then these two will just kind of just disappear right now. All right. You just want to get something inbound here. It's not really producing much, and that's because we now don't have enough. So what we really want is yeah. That's oh, look at all this technology we're getting. That's because we got the Bioflux. Let's see, what do we get? We got Bioflux, yes. Then we got craft item Bioflux, yes. And the other one, craft 25 Bioflux. So once we get it, we get it. Last thing, this build is going to be a little bit different from the other builds. Actually, it's not really going to be a lot different now that I think of it, because it's still going to have to get some spoilage out here. Or some nutrients, alright. But it's going to get a lot more input. So I'm going to get one belt in here and another belt in here. And that will definitely be just in. And then also get the nutrients on the outside belt. There. This looks good, right? This will take all the spoilers. It'll take 6 spoilers, so it's going to get in at a pretty decent rate. And I think these should be out here, and then the middle one would fit better. Gives me a little bit more space for our output, and then from here to here. So this is basically getting stuff inbound. I am going to get it inbound on 2 lanes. I think, how much? 6 plus 6 plus 6 plus 6? Oh, it's not that much. What I'm also thinking is, what if the nutrients out here spoils? Well, then I can actually just do this part where I just do spoilage and then take it in and then prioritize it as inbound. then it just goes out and goes back into the loop and gets reprocessed. That's neat. So we do need some nutrients actually requested on the outside belt. That's honestly something that's important. Because I can't rely on this always having nutrients. I have to be able to also kickstart it from somewhere else in case something goes wrong. So I'm going to be putting in a nutrient design here, and actually that's very much exactly the same that we already have. This one. Let's build that here. And that requests the whole belt, looks at the whole belt, and that means we need to get spoilage in here. So for example, this part is spoilage inbound. Yep. And we're also getting spoilage from the other part. This part. And then we're just gonna be like the first little collected build here. There we go. And these of course need something to work with, and we are now producing this. So the question is, alright, here's the thing. Spoilage doesn't spoil. Isn't that amazing? I mean, that's kind of obvious, isn't it? But it also has like the distinct advantage that since it doesn't spoil, we can actually use that for storage. There, and get that in here. No, that's not a storage. Then get that as a spoilage storage, so that we have to, if you have too much spoilage, we actually get here, which I don't think we're gonna have, but it might have it at some phases. And then we can get it out here, and like this. Okay, so I'm going to take this and then flip it vertically and go here. Good. So that's my intention with this. Then I actually want to limit not the inserters into this box here, but actually the... Okay, this is... Oh, wow. This is just not working, this the amount here. I think we need a lot more. In order for this to keep flowing. Yeah. Yeah, it's a self-perpetuating thing. Okay. Right. So this is working. Do we want to keep flowing? What if we get too much of this? Well, that's... Now let's ruin the power by doing this. Then I just have built... Convert spoilage into nutrients. That converts into spoilage into nutrients. And then I just lose things over time. That's only on Gleba we want to do that. And there's now 20 plus 20. Okay, so now we actually need 2 inputs. Wow. I also really don't think this is safe. So we'll just do this one at least. Safe power-wise. Yeah. Now it's 11, 13. That's a 60, this is 60. Still too much. Right. So what do I want to do? I want to actually constrain the inputs here. These inputs are going to be constrained depending on how much we have here. Do we have less than 200? 500. Let's say 500, for example. If we have 500 nutrients in the system, which is way too much, by the way, now that I think of it, it should just be 200. Because nutrients is something that's going to be processed extremely quickly. We only want to have it when we need it and not any time. So we need to have something that is working really quickly to process it. Good. So this is actually a really clean, crisp setup for the things that we need. All I need to do is hook these up to our outpost, and then we have that belted inbound. And so we follow our clean belt back home, coming in, and it means we can retire these two. And retire these two. I did ask it to come home. Oh, it's only coming home in bursts now, because we actually have all of this. Well, we don't, but now we do. Get out there. Alright, so these are now producing, and they're coming back on a belt, and we will see that actually it is not it's belt constrained, and we will now transition everything as cleanly as possible. We do not want all of this, by the way, because we have nothing to use it for. Oops, forgot that. What we're doing right now is basically just making expensive spoilage. But there now comes the most important principle. Don't care about a lot of things. Like, a lot of things don't matter here. Like, this is infinite. Infinite yumaco, infinite jellynut. That is it. So keep it flowing like a river and just pass it through. And then the spoilage, you filter it out, you throw it away, and then it gets in. So, by the way, here's another thing about this one. This is not ideal because I actually want to also be able to request things inbound. Because I'm still getting spoilage everywhere else, and that spoilage also needs to be handled here. Let's see how much spoilage we actually have in the system. We have 33,000. This is not fast enough. So we need to do like a small adjustment to this. So this is much better. First of all, we now have both belts flowing in, and we also have the spoilage here being the requested spoilage outbound. So that means we will now clean up our spoilage. We already went from 33 to 24 very easily by just doing this way, and this will consume all of our spoilage. And the thing is, you can just make more of these. This is the beauty of these builds. It's like, oh, we need more, and just add more. Just add more of this, just add more of this, and we now have some very stable bioflux that we can use in the next episodes for anything we want. And we can also transport to other planets if we want. So we have now built the very basic stuff here. These are some really crisp blueprints, and they are of course available in my blueprint book that comes along with the save games that is available to patron supporters. So thank you very much for watching. We are going to continue working here on Gleba, and we're going to be working into plastic and rocket fuel and science. So that's going to be the next episodes. Thank you very much for watching. Until next time, take care and stay effective.